Dear guests, please, those who are out and want to join us, please join us. Dear guests, both who has attended our forum in person or online, thank you for joining us today for a Strategy State and IT Eurasian Forum kickoff event here in Tbilisi. My name is Anatoly Motkin and I'm president of StrategEast. A year ago, our first Strategy State and IT Eurasian Forum in Kiev, our key discussions were devoted to a number of topics. The need for a digital transformation of public services, the transition to a data-driven economy, and the opportunities to create hundreds of thousands of new high-paid jobs within IT industry in Eurasia. We talked about the future where the digitalization will change the entire system of relationships between the state and the citizen, between state and society. But this future became our reality much faster than we could imagine. As one of our participants in our virtual panels said, the 10 years plans for digitalization were implemented in 6 months of the COVID pandemic. Amid the pandemic, it has been demonstrated that how fast the tech industry was able to switch to the remote work and to increase the generated revenues amid those hectic times. While the GDP of each of the Eurasian countries has dropped significantly over the past 6 months, the IT industry has not experienced the decline. It was the digitalization that assisted to the governments and the society to fight jointly against the pandemic. In our recent report that we have released, the civil society response to COVID-19 in Eurasia, you can find multiple digital projects implemented by civil society in Eurasian countries. During this period, we have seen how government agencies have dramatically accelerated the transition of public services online, as well as multiple online services based on open data were launched to allow private companies to take part in the digital transformation of the states. When people say that the world will never be the same after the pandemic, you can be assured that it will become digital. During the pandemic, many of us got used to do things remotely, online, and the chance to get back to the analog format seems extremely low. For us in StrategEast, the pandemic also has become a true challenge. We have had to pass a significant part of our activities to the online format. Above 20 online events with global thought leaders and decision makers were held by us since April, with total audience exceeding 100,000 people. StrategEast is a global organization operating in all Eurasian countries, United States and the European Union. And this forum is not only a unique event, but also a unique opportunity to see how a global gathering of this scale was able to go through a digital transformation itself. The event was prepared jointly by our regional office in Kiev and StrategEast Georgia. If last year we were proud that our forum was attended by guests from a dozen countries, today we're proud that speakers from a dozen countries will speak at our panels despite the pandemic. And despite the pandemic did not allow them to come to this beautiful country. And these are it's not only about the speakers. Our audience are thousands of people who join us from dozens of countries around the world. Let me move from the global success cases to the local ones in Georgia that are hosting us here today. I'm extremely grateful to the government and the ministries and to the Georgia's Innovation and Technology Agency for their willingness to host the forum here and for the assistance provided in its organization. For us in StrategEast, the last year has also provided a great opportunity to make a tangible contribution to the Georgian IT industry development. Last February, jointly with one of the leading global engineering companies, EPAM Systems, we launched our IT Hub Educational Center in Tbilisi. These days, close to 40 students are being trained in this center by the world-class IT practitioners working in EPAM systems. IT Hub has become an ideal model of how public-private partnership should work in IT education. JITA, the Georgia's Innovation Technology Agency, has provided the support of the government side. Tbilisi's Business and Technology University has assisted us to find the high-level applicants. And the best coaches were provided by EPAM. We've started at the end of February, just several weeks before the pandemic outbreak here in Georgia. And amid the lockdown, we've reformatted our educational program to one-to-one remote format. And that model allowed us to renew the trainings in mid-May. And this October, we will obtain a first tangible result. The first IT Hub graduates will get their first jobs working remotely for the global IT companies. And the most important, without leaving their own country. But this is far from being the sole result of our activity. Some of the global tech companies that we are in communication with will shortly open their offices here in Tbilisi. And I'm proud that the first announcement will be made today within this forum. Our mission is to keep this tendency to integrate Georgia and the whole Eurasia into global IT production chain. Our IT Hub in Tbilisi is not just a local project, but a scalable model that is planned to be expanded to other Eurasian countries that need initial push. Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and other countries in Eurasia. Moreover, the remote education model allows us to expand it immediately without being limited by the pandemic. I should admit that at this stage, to expand IT Hub, we need support from international development agencies and international financial institutions who promote the digital economy in Eurasia. With that, we expect that this program will become self-sustainable in extremely short period. Being a scalable program, the StrategEast IT Hub is adjustable for students from any country, while the tuition language is English. By implementing this ambitious program in the Eurasian region, we're involving a critical mass of local youngsters in a transparent, accountable economy, based on the rule of law and private property protection, and connecting them to the global digital economy. StrategEast is proud to be one of the consistent driving forces transforming the economies of Eurasian countries from the natural resource-based model to the knowledge-driven one. And I'm happy that the StrategEast State and IT Eurasian Forum is becoming the platform that determines the trends in the IT development in Eurasia for the coming years. I would like to pass my special thanks to our partners, Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport, Ministry of Finance, Georgia's Innovation Technology Agency, Microsoft, the World Bank, American Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, Access Holding, Big Wallet, Business and Technology University in Tbilisi, European Business Association in Georgia, EPAM System, and SilkNet. I wish you all successful work on those 2 days and the entire coming year. Thank you so much for coming, and let me pass the stage, although virtually, to Mr. Arkadiy Dobkin, President of EPAM Systems from Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you, Anatoly. I hope the audience can hear me and see me. Again, thank you for opportunity to speak and being invited for this forum. So, about a year ago, I visited Georgia first time, and number of meetings and conversations happened. And at this point, we were just thinking about we're thinking about opportunity to work in Georgia. During this 12 months, a lot of efforts and a lot of kind of promises or expectations which we discussed starting to be implemented to real life. It's not yet everything done, but definitely Georgia has the right right intention and right partners to accelerate some efforts around digital economy. And as Anatoly already described, together with StrategEast, we started initiatives specifically around education. And in a couple of months, the first graduates will be coming from the school. And it's also one of the reasons, seeing the talent available in the country, we decided that we're going to open operation in Georgia in the next months and help to build the talent pool for global EPAM operation and definitely help to build a talent pool for the country as well. So that's an important step for us while we're operating in more than 30 countries. Each country we add into the map is a very significant commitment from us. I do believe that similar like it was happening in some other countries where we started to operate, it would accelerate development of the whole IT community, will create opportunity for keep the best talent in the country, and accelerate a lot of initiatives, including education as well. And clearly, I'm speaking from some experience because I don't know how many of you heard about EPAM before, but we started company in the United States and practically simultaneously open operation in Minsk, Belarus, and it was over 25 years ago. And at this moment, nobody can even assume that from this initiative, anything more or less significant could grow from. And today, again, 25 years later, we have engineering development centers in Belarus with over 10,000 people. And we created very significant educational infrastructure. And then we transferred it from Belarus to Ukraine, Russia, and some countries in former Soviet Union, including Armenia, Kazakhstan, and Georgia could be next. So today we have about 40,000 people globally. Besides Belarus, we have very significant presence in Ukraine, about 8,000 people. Across Central Eastern Europe, we have operations in India and China as well. But the former Soviet Union regions for us is a very critical talent destination. So, and talking about education, we have more than 500 people dedicated, focusing on creating educational content around IT and delivering this as well. We train per year probably around 10,000 people. So while Anatoly was mentioning that our initiative in Georgia, which we started about 6 months ago, will be delivering like about 40 people, we already have the first success. One of the people, even before finishing, found his first job. So, and I'm pretty sure that EPAM will accept number of people from this 40-person pool. But again, we train today 10,000 people, and it's 1,000 people in different countries. And we do believe that we can bring this type of effort in Georgia as well. And again, we'll bring clients, international clients, very different experience, and hopefully we'll create in Georgia development center in line with engineering qualities and standards, similar to the best in EPAM today. With all this story, the example of EPAM, just to remind, like right now, we're probably one of the top 10 IT services companies in the world, and probably one of the few best in the area of digital transformation. We are the only one IT services company on the list of Fortune 100 fastest growing companies in the world today. And we, again, very committed to the region, very good to the opportunities which Georgia creating here. And very interesting to see the agenda for this forum as well, because clearly the work is only started and opportunities is ahead of companies like EPAM and the whole industry, because what we actually can help is to trigger the whole industry acceptance and clients who started to come on regular basis and see the country not from the reading something on the internet, but having like real human touch. And that's important. We saw how important it was in Belarus, despite of everything what's happening there right now. And we saw how it's happening right now in other countries in the region. Okay, thank you for inviting me. Wish great success for the forum. Unfortunately, cannot participate in person due to obvious reasons. And thank you again.
So thank you again, and thank you to Arkadiy. And just one thing is all the disadvantages of mixed model of the forum of in-person, not in-person. In 5 minutes, we'll have another speaker who was unable, unfortunately, to arrive because of the yellow status of Georgia, new status, and his name is Kaush Arha. He is strategic advisor to USAID administrator. He'll address greetings to this forum, and afterwards we'll have the keynote speech by Professor Beata Jaworczyk, the chief economist of EBRD, to this forum. So just, I apologize, in 6 minutes it will start. Thank you.
When am I on? Hello, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
So it's Kaush Arha, the strategic advisor to USAID administrator for strategic engagements. Please.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Motkin. I appreciate the opportunity to address the gathering of this most important topic in the Eurasia. So I'm thankful, honored, glad to be here, and I want to wish you all a very successful and constructive discussion and forum. The topic that you're talking about and the region that you're talking about could not be more timely and more important. We are, I think, needless to say, we're at the cusp of a new era which is going to be defined by digital economy and the digital services and the digital infrastructure. That trend had been further exaggerated and I think in some ways leapfrogged with the COVID pandemic that we are dealing with, that force and gets us a little bit more into that importance. And so digital economy is the one that is going to be the sort of the neural network that's going to drive global economy in the future. Regionally speaking, the Eurasian region is back in the ascendancy of its geographical importance of connecting the two most important land masses, Asia and Europe, the two most important economics sort of bookends it globally on both sides of it. So connecting Europe and Asia, and then the digital infrastructure will play an important role, not only in guiding and bringing people together, but also fast-tracking the physical infrastructure, which will be coming into play as well. So as we talk about that particular issue as we go forward, I think it's important to keep in mind that digital economy does not only affect the economic prosperity and security of a nation, but also the political prosperity and security of a nation. So in these given instances, I think as we go into this new digital world, it requires a lot of forethought and concern, and I think important elements of what we need to look at. So within that specter, as a lot of us have been talking about, I think a lot of people over there, and it's fantastic to have the EBRD colleagues there and the World Bank colleagues there and the colleagues from European Union and other neighboring countries. So I think the European Union sort of Europe-Asia connectivity initiative that does look at 4 lines of effort, whether there be energy or digital or infrastructure or people-to-people connection, I think provides a nice framework to engage in these issues. And particularly on the digital side, just as the European Union sort of papers on that end and others, the importance and the necessity of transparency and sort of a notion of that everybody is fully confirmed and comfortable with the security and of the trusted networks, that the idea that the individual liberties are further empowered and not curtailed from the modern digital infrastructure, and that the economic opportunities are again further boldened and not done in any way hampered with that. With that in mind, I think the interesting other element is not to underestimate or look at it, is the notion of new digital technologies that are coming up. So as we talk about on digital networks, we need to not only discuss and talk about issues related to vertically integrated systems, but we're also dealing and walking into an age and era of sort of open radio access networks and virtual radio access networks. I think we're talking about an era which will be very much defined by the new generation of Wi-Fi, local asset access network, Wi-Fi 6, that Cisco and other people are coming up with. And I think it also be defined a lot with backhaul technology, not only of important submarine cables and fiber optics and others, but also satellites with, I think, of more importance, how they can work in the lower Earth orbits or very LEO issues. So it's a fascinating time of how these new technologies are going to come together and provide us a vision of not only meeting the potential of our economic prosperity, but political security and individual freedoms. So I think that's a really important element. And as we go through that, I think there are issues, and in many ways, I would look at it that a lot of the creative solutions and opportunities would be defined from your region and gatherings such as like this. So I'm sorry that I cannot be there in person, but I am there in spirit, and I appreciate all the great forethought and discussions that would happen there in leading the way on how to make sure that digital economy serves everybody's purpose, that it strengthens national sovereignties, and then it builds on the promise of economic prosperity and sort of political freedom. So appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to staying engaged with you guys as you go forward in your efforts, and wish you a very constructive and positive discussions and deliberations on this important topic. So thank you very much again, Mr. Motkin, for the opportunity to address and talk to the group. It's an honor, and I wish you a good conference. Thank you very much.
And now I'm proud to introduce you the keynote speech for today by Chief Economist of EBRD, Professor Beata Yavorchik. Please.